Hello good people, another slice of Pietenpol Ford. You won't believe how long those intros take to make. Unfortunately, sometimes I have too much time on my hands when I'm away. Jet lag, insomnia and a vivid imagination. I've also got a cold, so if I sound like someone from Birmingham, I apologise. Last time I ran the Pietenpol Ford, it had a bit of a misfire, not unlike Monsieur Hulot's Samson. Although I monkeyed around with the carburettor, I was pretty sure it was an ignition fault. Some bright spark in the comments suggested the condenser was at fault. I would agree with that diagnosis. I had to dig around in my spares and found another condenser, but unfortunately the wire on this one has got terminal rigor mortis. New condensers are available from Fresno Air Parts in California. This one costs $14. I actually decided to buy a coil as well, and this was an amazing streak of luck. I'm in the USA often, but I never quite know when I'm going to be there. My job is much like being captain of a tramp steamer, going from one flying job to the next. Fortunately, my friend Malcolm, subscriber and friend of this channel, was heading out to California to see his family at Christmas, and he collected this stuff for me and brought them back in his bag. Thank you, Malcolm. I didn't realise the coil came vacuum packed in a tin. This is absolutely delightful. This tin's about 80 years old. It's got one of those keys on the bottom. And of course you're meant to open it by sliding the key into the tang there and then opening the can all the way around. But actually the can now, being 80 years old, is rather nice itself. So I want to take the top off of it carefully with a tin opener. I actually had to go and buy a new tin opener. This was all of £1 in Trago Mills the other day. I'm not sure quite what cheap Chinese quality it is, but as long as it can do one lap of the tin without messing it up too bad, then it was worth £1. I'm sure changing the condenser alone will be enough to cure the misfire. However, this magneto, it was a spare for my Ronca Champ from years ago, is a pretty weather-beaten device. I had some spare bits, but I used them to make up the mags for the GO145 Lycoming. And I know the coil which sits in the top here has got a nasty split on the outside. It might not actually go through to the windings. They're wound in cloth and then I think coated in shellac or something. Anyway, it looks pretty awful. The condenser goes in the bottom here, so I need to undo that screw cap as well. Before we have the excitement of opening the tin, let's take the magneto to pieces. I had the gear out of it before. That was in one of the late episodes of the Pietenpol Ford build. I'll put the link in the description. And suddenly I was looking here and I couldn't find the crack, but actually it is cracked. The coil's got a crack running, and I know I spotted this when I took this distributor barrel out. The crack runs in a semicircle up across here, and the sort of stuff on the outside is all peeling away, so it's definitely worth changing. This screw here secures the terminal for the condenser, so if I undo that and undo the condenser cap, it should come out. It's now the following afternoon. After I turned the camera off last night, I gave this coil a clean up with some slightly damp Scotch-Brite, and it's cleaned up very well. You can see the crack there just below my thumb. Of course, if I didn't have another coil in a tin, I think I'd just dollop some varnish in the crack and then put this one back in. I'm going to put some varnish in the crack anyway, I think, and keep it as a spare. But of course, having bought the tin with the wonderful coil inside, we all want to see how it's packed and what it looks like. If you're wondering what that punch is doing on top of the magneto, I've put it across there as a keep on the magnet. Normally the coil would do that, and of course if you take the coil out and leave it out, there's no keep, and sometimes these magnets lose their force, and they lose it quite quickly. If you were to leave it for any length of time, you might find the magnets completely lose their magnetism. If you ever do that and you think you need to remagnetize a magnet, there is a fantastic bodge. It is this. Get yourself some magnets. I always have some of these kicking around because they're really useful for just sticking stuff on when you're working, nuts, bolts, whatever. There's 101 uses for them. But merely stick a magnet on the magnet of the magneto, put it all back together and run it. And you'll find after a while the magnet actually becomes remagnetized anyway, and you can take these things off. And again, if you've got a really weak magnet, you just think, well, it's going to work, but I'd like a bit more magnetism, we'll just stick magnets on it. You can't go wrong. I'm sure a purist could tell me that there's something wrong with that, but I think it's a great way round. I've taken the new condenser out of its packet, but I feel the time has come to open this splendid tin. Now, it says it's vacuum packed. I don't think it's going to be quite like opening the Ark of the Covenant. I'm not expecting hell, damnation, and my face to melt, end up looking like Andrew Lloyd Webber. But let's try the tin opener. Here goes. Oh, there was a hiss. You can see in there's cardboard disc on the top. Hopefully lots of waxy paper. More cardboard. Oh yes. Look at that. Hope it's the same. Yeah, I think the pickup is in the same place. Well, that's very smart. I just tried this in the magneto body and it fits properly, and the pickup here makes a bullseye on the end of the drum, so I think I can go ahead and reassemble it all. This wire is quite long, so I've had a bit of a monkey round and sort of fed it down into the body and back up. And it's met up with the other wire and big 2BA screw through there, so that fits properly. The old coil had this arrangement which appeared to just earth that to the magnet, but this doesn't. It's just slightly different. It appears to be soldered here, same job, just earthing straight through to the screw again. So I guess it's just an improvement or modification. Mustn't forget the gasket. Best quality cereal packet. I think that's Kellogg's Just Right, which indeed was just right. Just before I fit the new condenser, I'm going to clean the points with a flat file. That'll do. It's all back together now. I've just fitted a couple of earthing wires which will earth the HT lead terminals to the body of the mag. So if I spin it with a cordless drill, we should see some sparks. I'll turn some lights out first though. Well, I shall declare that a great success. We'll go and bolt this back on the Ford engine, see if it runs. Have a tidy up as well. Unusual for me. That can go in there. That's the condenser that came out, called Dud. I'll keep it though, in case I ever find another condenser that looks the right size, or looks like it might have come out of a Bendix scintilla, and I'm not sure. I can try it against the Dud. And I suppose the rigor mortis one can go in there as well. And any other bits I find can go in the Bendix scintilla tin. I haven't refitted the mag yet, but if you're one of those unfortunate souls known as a regular viewer, you'll know I like to prime the oil system first. So right, that's more than enough. When I took the magneto off, I obviously just loosened the chain, unhooked the chain, took the magneto away, and I did take note of just about the position of the flywheel beforehand. Of course, these Bendix scintilla mags have got the white tooth in the window here. You can't see it, or probably can't anyway, but I can clearly. So that is firing position for number one cylinder. So all I have to do is put the number one cylinder pretty much in the firing position, so about 10 degrees before TDC. Somewhere about there. I'll do it once more. That's near enough. So it was about 10 degrees before or so. The chain's in here. It's been thoroughly oiled. Yep, that'll do. Just putting the plug back in and double checking. I'm pretty sure it's all okay. Can't really go wrong because each tooth is 12 degrees, but can't really go wrong with probably what the captain of the Titanic said. There's the timing mark. Yep, and it's a little way before TDC, but not by very much. There's quite a lot of old pen marks on there. I probably should get rid of them really, but too much like hard work. Right, let's put the earthing leads on. Well, there we are. I just got a minor telling off because it is, or rather was, quiet Sunday afternoon. Anyway, I say that was a great success. I wasn't able to get it to idle before. I'm still not convinced about certain settings on my cheap Chinese Zenith knockoff carburettor, but the mag seemed to work all right. It did take a lot of winding to get going, which is why I eventually turned the camera off, and of course it then actually started. The chain has thrown lots of oil up here, I'm pleased to see. The tank of water isn't very warm at all, but all in all, that was quite good. I suppose the next thing is to start sorting out engine mounts and a clutch and things, but that'll have to wait a while until Fred's going, and the Oronx C2's made a bit of progress, I suppose. I'm still on the hunt for a suitable chassis. I want to make something a little bit like Monsieur Hulot's Samson or Mr. Cushman's GN, I suppose. Anyway, all good fun. Thanks for watching.